Next step on our eyeballs, now that our watercolor is all dry, we're going to go back in with that black ballpoint pen and we're just going to trace one line on top of each one of these veins. There we go, with the ballpoint pen. It's going to be thin and it's going to be subtle, but that's exactly what we want. We don't want it to be heavy and we don't want it to really show. We'd rather those two colors blend. All right, let me show you what not to do. Remember this dude? All right, so what we don't want to do is we don't want to start off on our tree and then go really super fast so that we get these black lines sort of near the red ones but not on them. Or they're coming through these little veins and then shoot off into nothingness, okay? This kind of black is not going to look good in an eyeball. Not that this eyeball looks good to begin with, but you want to really take your time and stay on these veins. So you got to kind of go slow and see what you're doing. And when I do it, I even stop just before the end of that red vein to make sure I'm not shooting out the end of it like that. So we'd rather have red and black lines shooting through our eyeball like this than just black lines shooting through our eyeball, because that just doesn't even make sense, okay? So this will take a second, and do it with your ballpoint pen. So I have traced over my red lines with my ballpoint pen, and now I'm ready to again add a little bit of depth just on that outside edge. And we're going to do it the same way we did it with your iris. We're going to take that black ballpoint pen and we're just going to give it a little bit of scribble scrabble along the edge. Remember, you can go outside the edges, that's okay, but you just want to kind of give it just a little bit of depth and shading along that very edge. Not solid black, it's just a little bit of that ballpoint pen scribble scrabble. So now that I'm finished with that, you can see I tried to scribble a little bit darker right next to that black line, and then it got slightly lighter and lighter as I moved away from it. I did not hardly do much at all, but it does give it a little bit of depth right there. So step back and look. Is everything nice and even all the way around? Like really look at the whole thing and see, does it match all the way around? Does it look even? Do I need to fix it up anywhere? And then go ahead and cut it out. So once it's all finished and you got it looking the way you want to, it's time to cut carefully along that black line. So I am finally ready to put my two pieces together. I am going to run a very thin line of glue just inside this outer edge, and then maybe a little bit in the middle. And then I'm very carefully going to place it in the center of this eyeball. I want to make sure that I cover up all the tree trunks, so to speak, where they go into the ground. I don't want to glue it like this so that these are just stopping in the middle of nowhere. I want to make sure everything on this side gets covered just a smidge and everything on this side gets covered just a smidge. Even if this isn't exactly in the middle. You know, you could have it off to one side or the other because your eyeball could be looking in a different direction. Then make sure there's no glue oozing out the edges. And I like to smush it with a big fat book for about a half an hour just so it lays real flat. And finally, now that you have your eyeballs, I want you to tell me how you're going to use them. We're going to make a little potion out of them. So tell me what your potion's name is, what it cures, who you are, you're the maker, what are the ingredients. We know we're going to put some eyeballs in there, but what else will be in there? Instructions on how to mix or cook or chill your potion, and then what the dosage is going to be in order to take it so that it will cure whatever it's supposed to. It may end up looking a little bit like this one, okay? Mine is called the extract of spickled nudie. It will cure morning tiredness and sleeping late, hopefully. All right, there's your name. The ingredients, you know, we have fresh eyeballs, but then I also have thimble of powdered witch blood, 5 coarse horsetails, ground rabbit claws, blah, blah, blah. How do you mix them? Grind the ingredients first, then mix them slowly with some seawater, bring to a boil, simmer in a cauldron for 4 days, allow it to cool, blah, blah, blah. And then how much do you take? You know, sip a thimbleful at bedtime. So you're going to fill this out and turn that in with your eyeball too. All right? And then we'll start something new next week.